Good morning and welcome to Fat Cow Farm. Now here we are this morning in the High Tunnel Hoop House, and I wanted to give you an update on the planting on moon cycles. Now this row here of cabbages is probably the best example that I've got that I wanted to show you. If you remember, we planted these larger ones outside the moon cycle, and then I found this whole moon cycle scenario when we were down at the farmers market, and so we've planted the ones behind. So between the two, I think there was about 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 28 days, and I can't see any sort of major difference at the moment, obviously for size, but that's probably more based on time. Now, as I was doing my research beyond planting these, we were talking about the difference between planting on moon cycles and things like that, and what actually happens. So the crux of it being is that on a new moon, more water or more moisture from the soil is coming up into the plants or into the seeds, which is then enable them to germinate a lot more frequently. So I think it's probably more of a percentage. So if I'm looking at what I have here versus here, I can certainly see that I have more germination success on this smaller line than I did my original. So yes, as a part of that sort of cycle, I feel that the planting on moon cycles is a little bit more beneficial. But in saying that, because these guys are now ready for thinning, I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to sort of really start experimenting with this moon cycle. And I found this website, and I'll put it on the bio down below as a part of descriptions. There's 4 elements to this whole new cycle, and I have to read this because it's all very new to me. You have the water elements, which is then based on leafy plants, lettuces, cabbages, whatever it may be. You then have the fire element, which is based off fruit days. So that's more put around fruit trees. You then have an earth element, which is for root days. Carrots, parsnips, potatoes, anything below the ground is where you would then plant those sort of vegetables. Onions. So like with my onions, I've made a big mistake. So I've planted them on a leafy cycle of the moon. And then you've got flower. All right, so this is all very, very technical in my small little head about how things are actually going to work. But as a part of what we've got going today, because we're a part of that new moon cycle now, and we're dealing with leafy vegetables, I now need to split these or thin these out in this cycle that we have now. And it also talks about the whole process of when to harvest. So if you harvest on leafy days, i.e. if we were ready now, our produce would store for longer. Unlike if, let's say, if we were to then harvest our leafy material on a root day, then it wouldn't last as long. So there's a lot going on, and I suppose me being a new sort of gardener to this sort of cycle, it's going to be interesting to see how this all really pans out. So what I'm going to do is thin these cabbages out, because this is what the calendar is telling me, and I'll see how it all starts to transpire. So let me get this squared away. I'll move them across to another bay and thin them out, and then I'm going to keep this original row, which we used as a part of the moon cycle. They aren't quite ready for thinning out yet. I'll probably wait another period for that, and then we can go from there. So look, bear with me, because it is all full on. It's I'm really struggling with the concept, but I think once it becomes more of a habit, then I think that it makes it a little bit easier. So I know that I can come up today and I'm going to do my leaf materials. I know on another day that I'm going to come up and do my root vegetables, onions, potatoes. I've got some potatoes coming up here, just leftovers from last harvest. So there's going to be a few things going on, and which also sort of, it's not all at once, which I think in the concept of the scheme works out quite well. So, but anyway, look, let's see how this all pans out. I'll thin these out now. I'll transfer a few of these across to another bay, and then we can really gauge what's going on. So I'll come and find you, and I'll see you soon. All right, so we're back again. I've gone through my thinning process on the cabbages, and I've sort of spread those out everywhere. I've had some lettuces. I thought I'd do the same. Now I just want to do a bit of a recap. Now I think that for us as vegetable gardeners, there's only really 3 sort of phases that we need to sort of think about. And I've been thinking about it since we posted this video. And, you know, you've got your water, your fire, and earth. I think they're the 3 really that we need to sort of focus on. You know, water being your leafy materials, earth being your root materials, and you've got fire being fruit, which is outside the orchard, or outside, sorry, not outside the orchard, but outside the high tunnel hoop house. So I've still got to get my head around it and sort of prove to myself that this is something that is going to work. Now, I haven't had a chance to speak to more commercial gardeners about that sort of scenario, but you know, the guy that I'd spoken to down at the farmer's market, like, he swore by it, and his fruit and veggies and everything else looked amazing, absolutely amazing. So hopefully there's some method in the madness, and you know, I'm going to go through with it. You know, I think that it's important that, you know, if we're going to do something like this, let's use this as an experiment and see what happens. I've just quickly. You'll see some strings I've just put through for my peas. Now I've just done that the same as how I would string up my tomatoes. Just wrap them around and then get the base ready to rock and roll. And they've got those little arms that go out and start picking everything up. So this should turn into a wall of peas. So that'd be nice and easy to grab. So, but anyway, look, we'll have to sort of just manage how everything's going on. And I'm still waiting for some other things to come up. And look, it's been cold. It's been really, really cold. I've just checked the temperature here. We're only running at 13 degrees in here. Now, you know, ultimately we really want to be looking at close to 20. So we're a little bit behind in the temperature phase, which I think is then stunting the growth a little bit. But look, we'll see how everything pans out and how everything gets managed. I'll just water in these new seedlings that we've put in from the thinning, and then we can go from there. So until next time, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.